You're listening to this episode on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube. Hit that subscribe button and leave us a comment. It would greatly benefit the show.
I'm sorry that I already opened mine. I wish I would have waited.
Wait, are you Canadian too?
Yet or hey? No.
It's just because you played hockey and from Wisconsin?
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Matt Osterman. My brother Kirk always likes to ask the first question, but I see he's adjusting. You good?
Yeah, well, I thought you wanted to do a little segment in the beginning.
Oh no, I want to do well. These you guys know how this goes. Let's do the Minnesota segment second, but release it first.
Oh.
Sure. Yeah. Your best subject is yourself, and that is why.
Scary.
Everyone's best subject is themselves,
sure.
Theoretically. Mm-hmm. So that's why we start with the interview, but release it last after people have come for the topic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Multi-hyphenates?
Multi-hyphenates. Yeah. So writer, director, editor, producer. It's like kind of kind of do it all. Like I started in the indie world, right? So you kind of have to learn to do everything, which is a blessing and a curse. But I like doing everything. If I was just a writer, that would be boring. I'm kind of an introvert, extrovert.
No.
What does that mean? I heard you say that in other interviews, and I didn't know what that meant.
Funny, I'll have to retire that, I guess.
No. It was good. It was in 2022 that you used it.
Oh, wow.
I do research coming into these.
Yeah, very good. So I like to be around people, but I also need my alone time, right, where I can kind of recharge and get back in the brain a little bit. So too much of either I can't do. I need a mix, which is fairly normal, I think.
Okay.
Right.
How do you like to share different jobs if you do different jobs? Because there's got to be jobs you can't do or know other people do well.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm working with people more talented than I, then like, amen, like they should be doing it. I like to be the dumbest person in the room, like that's how you know you're doing something right. So yeah, if I'm on set and we have a DP, I'm not gonna touch the camera, right? I'm just gonna say like, okay, here's the vision, and then let them do the rest. Writing, if I'm writing the thing, then it's kind of all me on that front, but I'll take ideas from anywhere. If it's a good idea, I don't care, we'll use it.
When you're rewriting a primetime actress, what are the nuances of that?
Primetime actress?
Say that a different way.
You rewrote a script that an actress or an actor wrote. I don't know how she identifies. And as someone who's going to be writing and starring in a movie,
right?
And you're rewriting their script, but you're not on the credits having rewritten it, correct?
Correct.
But I know you can publicly talk about having rewritten the
for
script
sure
because you have.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so that script I got in November. I remember getting it either Thanksgiving or the day before Thanksgiving because I read it in the car. I was in the passenger seat on the way back to Thanksgiving dinner with the family. And they sent it and they said, hey, here's a script. We are shooting in February, March in Louisiana. We have $1 million and the entire thing needs to be rewritten. And I was like, oh shit, like that's a lot. Because it needed work. It wasn't shootable. Like the ideas were good. But it was, when you're doing things, even for $1 million, you have to be smart. Too many locations, too many characters, you have to condense, right? There's some engineering that has to happen there. And then the actual science fiction part of it needed to be elevated quite a bit. No pun intended, this was for movie Hover.
It's about drones.
About drones, yep.
Yeah.
And Sci-Fi Channel they already owned it. They owned the rights to it and they were paying for it. So we needed to make it more of a sci-fi movie.
Well, without getting into specifics, what part of it was unshootable? Was it budget-wise or?
Too many locations, you did say.
Yeah. So it was shootable. You just would have had to make a lot of sacrifices in terms of okay, these locations have to be next to each other, or we don't have enough time to do the amount of takes you want. So it was just really difficult from that point of view. So the engineering of it just needed to be figured out.
Well, does that go with plot too? Like, is it too long of a script? Too wordy, almost, maybe?
Yeah, honestly, I lived with the rewrite for 3 months, and this was a while ago, so I don't remember specifically about it. She had a lot of great ideas in there that we made sure just to kind of develop further and make those kind of shine.
That's fair.
And this is probably specific to this individual. I watched Last Man on Earth, so I was familiar with Cleopatra. And I just, it's fascinating to me that, hey, I'm going to have my name on the script, so I'm going to look good either way. And you're coming in going, here's how your baby's ugly. You're in consulting. That's what you do.
Yeah, well, I mean, she was part of the team that hired me.
Oh, okay.
So
that helps.
she knew, like, it was no big deal. But she, wrote a couple drafts and sold it. And they got closer and closer to production. Like, okay, we're not there yet. And I don't know the full story if she was too busy shooting Last Man or doing something else. But they didn't get it far enough.
Sure.
So yeah, she brought me on, and then she gave notes on every draft. So she was very, very involved with it, and she was just awesome.
And that's the second time that you had a movie end up on Sci-Fi Channel, right?
Yep.
So what was, like, you form that relationship after you make 400 Days, then Sci-Fi Channel buys it, and then because they bought it and it played a bunch of times, they go, hey, Matt could rewrite this thing we got coming. That's how that works?
Basically, yeah.
What happens in between? Like, how do they, like, keep you on the hook?
They don't. They just call you one day and say, hey, we have this thing. So the producer of it wasn't a sci-fi guy. He, I forget how he came onto the project, Travis Stevens, a great director in his own right. I had gotten to know him a little bit spending time in LA. And so he was on the project with Cleo and Sci-Fi. And because I had the 400 Days experience with them and that did well, and I knew Travis a little bit, I wasn't in the room when they went through their list of directors, but somehow I was the last guy standing on that. So yeah, it was a cool call to take. I almost didn't take it, just because that's a big ask. You kind of know, like, okay, they're handing me a rope and I'm gonna have to hang myself with it. And there's parts of the movie that, like, turned out really well, and other parts you can tell that we had 3 months to rewrite and pre-produce and make it happen.
In between these times, I know you're entrepreneurial, and I want to talk about that as well. What are you working on? What were you working on between those two movies? Which of your companies? Because you had your marketing company, I imagine, you said you started in 2012 before you got in the air, so you must have been working at the marketing company, and then it's like, what, you just take time off of the marketing company to go make a movie?
Yeah, at that point, I think I only had 1 or 2 clients, so they were, making movies. People get excited about that. So when you tell them, like, hey, I have to go away for a couple months to make a movie, they're like, oh, really? Awesome. Yeah, we'll be here when you get back, right? So that worked out pretty well. So I was doing that, and I think I was writing something else. I forget which one. And then I had started another business back up in northern Wisconsin, internet service provider company too. So that was early days for that, which wasn't taking up a ton of time at that point. But yeah, I have too many irons in the fire usually.
Wait, so you were writing, you were potentially working on your next movie. Was that Bitcon that you were working on before you got, it was something else?
It was something else. So I probably 3 or 4 other scripts that I kind of swirling around. It's probably one of those.
Okay.
And then the Bitcon, I think, came right after Hover. Started working with that because I had a co-writer on that, Mark Banzer. So we were able to move on that a lot faster. So I think maybe that took a year to write, and we kind of greenlit it ourselves.
So you then worked with a co-writer. What was different about the process after kind of being solo writer, it sounds like?
Yeah.
Your 3 first features.
I had known Mark for a while and loved his work, and we're friends at that point. So it was easy to say. We actually said, like, hey, let's do something together. Because I'm busy, I got all this other stuff going. I can be a slow writer. So I'm like, we have some momentum here. Let's write something that we can make right away. I don't know, I loved it. I love collaborating. Like, collaborating is like one of the best parts of filmmaking to me. And yeah, we just kind of bounced drafts back and forth. Where it's like, hey, I'm busy for the next week or 2. You want to take it? And then vice versa. And we just kind of got there.
Do you think that, or the question is going to be something like, hey, you're a team sports guy and you played sports. I think that's sometimes not as common in our art making community, for lack of a better thing to call it. And so it would seem to me that sports would be helpful for collaborating.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I'm sure there's, we say that and there's, a ton of exceptions to the rule, but
competitiveness that could be not healthy.
Yeah. I have that too.
Cool.
Especially the not healthy part. But
Hey, when you started the Propellant podcast, I was a little pissed because we had just started our thing. It's like, big dog coming in here, big dick in us. All right.
Right. Well,
we need 4 features.
well, look, you guys are still doing it, and I paused.
You're doing
mine.
a different one.
Yeah. But back to your team sports question. Yeah, I think so. I mean, I was a hockey and tennis player and played a ton of other sports growing up too. And like hockey specifically is one of those sports where you can show off a little bit, but you can't take over the game, right? You need to work as a unit, otherwise it falls apart. There's other sports where you can kind of take over a little bit. Hockey's a little different from that perspective.
Yeah, I guess unless you're Wayne Gretzky.
He's 1-on-1.
The great one. Yes.
Yeah.
So Hover and then Bitcon, you describe both of them as being 70s influence. Mm-hmm. What's that about? Is it because you were born in the 70s? Were you born in the 70s? I don't know.
78,
Whoa, you're going to date the guest? I thought we
he's
don't do
married
that.
from everything
No,
I know.
you know what I mean. Like age
I
him.
got him to smile.
78. So I'm more of an 80s kid.
Yeah.
Zennial, I think they call me now, or they call my generation.
You're a millennial?
It's Zennial.
So you're not Gen X?
I'm at the end of Gen X and the beginning of millennial. Cool. So I think they say like 77 to 83 or something like that is a Zennial.
Sweet.
Where we grew up without devices and the internet.
Yeah.
But we kind of came of age when they were coming on to the scene. So we kind of got the best of both worlds that way.
Yeah, you're younger than the kids on Stranger Things, but older than... I wish I had another example.
Very specific. That's very specific.
Yeah.
At least you're not a boomer. That's what we're. That's
Yeah,
what
we don't want boomers on this show.
The worst generation. Wait, have we had a boomer on the show yet?
I don't remember.
I'm sure we have. The reason I asked the 70s question is I'm wondering, what do you like? You've got a director's cut of Bitcon that has come out and is available. Okay.
Yep.
And so James Cameron said, "Don't ask the woman while she's crowning if she's going to have another baby."
Right.
Are you going to have another baby?
Yeah.
Okay.
I hope so.
What are you like? Is it going to be in the direction of something related to the 70s thriller, or is it something else?
I'm working on a horror thing right now.
Okay.
I'll say a vampire thing.
Why vampires?
It's the genre that never dies.
Yeah, it always comes back. Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
So you put a stake through its heart.
Right.
My college professor 20 years ago made the assertion that it does have ebbs and flows.
For sure.
And like, for instance, when we were going through the AIDS crisis, vampires were a little bit bigger.
Yep.
And I'm wondering then, what do you think is a cultural thing that is relating to, inspiring that, or your unique take, however you want to answer that question?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I haven't thought about that specifically in terms of like writing it right now. I'm trying to map it to something that might be happening. There's always the ebb and flow between the powerful and those who aren't powerful, and vampirism is one way that a normal person could basically obtain said power and become all powerful and immortal.
An oligarch.
Basically, right. Yep. We're just all aspiring to be Russian oligarchs.
Not Russian. I'd rather be like, I don't know.
American oligarch?
Definitely.
Yeah, right.
Definitely rather be an American oligarch.
Not Phil over here. You got thoughts on that, Phil?
America first.
I don't think I ever answered your question about the 70s thing, though, either. Like, I mean, arguably the best decade of American cinema, right?
70s,
Maybe more of a 90s person, but continue.
I mean, yeah, they're all, there's amazing.
What are the things from the 70s that you were seeing in your youth that inspires
I think part of it was like, America coming through the 60s, right? And just finding our identity. And then, a lot of the filmmakers were kind of mavericks in a way, right? Where they were just kind of given carte blanche to make what they wanted. And the storytelling medium was getting more sophisticated. And I think just telling more daring stories, more interesting stories. So like, with Hover, I was looking at kind of like Clute and Parallax View and those sorts of films where it's a little bit more manic and Big Brother-y, which works well for a drone movie. Feels like we're living that movie now in some ways.
Hey, Amazon.
Yeah, exactly. Don't kill me, please.
You're not a bridge that he needs to bring his yacht under.
Right, right. I know. Yeah, so I don't know. I think just at that moment, it just felt more real, and not as manufactured as it is today. Just storytellers, telling interesting stories.
So then what was Bitcon inspired by from the 70s?
That was more of a crime thriller. I would say Bitcon was, I don't know, that might have been more 90s than 70s. Just like a solid Hollywood crime thriller, and it's about a hard drive with Bitcoin on it, but it was basically a proxy for a briefcase full of cash or microfiche film, or substitute any one of those MacGuffins in there for it. But I don't know. I wanted to make a fun movie, and when you do a lot of sci-fi, you have to follow all those rules. I just wanted to be kind of unburdened by those rules and just have a little bit more fun with it.
Okay. And you did the Hollywood thing for what, like 6 months is the longest you've spent living there, or?
Yeah, I mean, when we made 400 Days, I was living out there.
And that's the only time you've lived in LA?
Yep.
Okay,
yep.
so you've kind of actively chosen not to.
Yeah, so when my first movie hit, there's a lot of pressure to move out there.
How so?
Because that's where movies were happening, right?
Sure.
That's where the money was. That's where the talent was. That's where business was happening. And my manager at the time was like, "It might be better for your career. It'll certainly be worse for your life." But also because I was a writer director, he's like, "If you come out here, your shit's gonna start smelling like everybody else's. If you stay back in Minnesota and do your own thing, it's going to be a little bit more unique. It's going to be in your own style. You're not going to write to the market or chasing trends like everybody else does out here." So married at the time, and we're like, a house and a yard and all of that would be great.
And that's pre-kids for you, if I'm doing the math
Pre-kids,
correctly.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're married and you're talking, like, this is a decision you have to make with your wife, I imagine.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes.
Do you mind if I ask, I haven't heard you speak on, what does she do?
Yeah, she works in the school district. She was a school teacher, then got her nursing degree. Now she kind of runs the health department for a large school district.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Yeah, very good human.
Yeah, Mrs. Farx does something similar, so I relate somewhat.
Why only 6 months were you in LA?
Because we made the movie. It took like 3 months to make, pre-production and then shooting. And then I was out there, for weeks at a time, like scouting and doing all that stuff. And then in post, I'd come back out too.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, do you miss LA at all, being there only for 6 months?
I love LA. It's like but it's a great place to visit. It's harder to live.
Stay. Yeah, no, I get that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's expensive too.
Expensive, but yeah, there's so much to love about that place. And when you're out there, it's like you throw a rock and you hit somebody who's in the movies, right? So you can have those kind of conversations. Here, we don't have the same opportunities for that.
Definitely not.
Did you find that productive to have those types of conversations?
Oh,
when you were
yeah.
there?
Oh, for
How
sure.
so? How did it advance your career or project?
It's people that are just in it every day, right? And you're meeting with some of the best. And after the first movie, I got really lucky and I got to do the studio water bottle tour, right? Where you go around and you meet all the people and worked on big things. And you just, as a movie lover, I'm just like soaking it all in and being like, holy shit, like this is pretty awesome. But they would, tell you what they're working on or give you feedback on a thing that you're working on. And you can pretty quickly tell like what pitches are landing, which ones aren't, how you develop your own storytelling or your own pitching style. So just kind of, being in the grinder, so to speak. If you're paying attention, you can learn a lot.
Yeah. And I also imagine being in the thick of it, you kind of inspired, like all these people are doing it just like you're doing it.
Yeah.
And you're inspired by these people.
You quickly realize that they're just humans too, right?
Yeah.
Nothing special. I mean, they're talented and they work hard. Like most of them deserved why they got there. But you're like, oh yeah, you're just human just like everyone else.
Man,
right?
we're all just trying. Yeah,
Right. They figured it out, or they were born rich. One of the two.
yeah, right. That helps.
There are people with agents here in the Twin Cities. I haven't heard a lot of people talk about managers, and as I roughly understand, if I had to explain it to my wife, I would say, well, an agent helps you get that next project. A manager's looking at your career of projects. That's a good way to. Okay.
Yeah.
So you have a manager, and you're working with him to he's getting a percentage on all these things. Do you have an agent then on top of this, or is it just you and your manager figuring?
It was
stuff
just
out?
the manager and myself, because everything that I was doing was we were just developing internally.
Okay.
So I wasn't up for assignments or anything like that, because I kept making movies, and it was working. So we didn't go that route. And my manager was like, "Don't get an agent right now. Like, wait." And never got an agent. So.
And now you're on Movie Baiters with the Farx.
Couple things, because you want me to. I'm trying to find my wormhole.
I'm bad at this. I'll come in hard.
There's never a point for me to like, unless I have to like interrupt you if I'm gonna.
Yeah, it happens.
The less pressing thing, you mentioned the vampire concept. I'm just curious. Do you have like any films that you're kind of taking inspiration from for that, especially from 70s, 80s stuff? Curious about that. My first question, which is kind of the more interesting one actually though, is about good ideas. But what makes a good idea? But I was also curious, like, do you happen to have like any, like if you're going into a vampire project, do you have things like, well, not that you want to copy, and we don't want to. Those of us who like know, we don't want to copy.
Yeah.
Unless we're not writing unless we're writing fan fiction, we're not trying to copy.
Good writers, kind of adapt what other people do. Great writers steal.
Well, okay.
Thank
If
you,
you say
Sorkin.
so. I would never accuse someone of saying, "Hey, you're going to steal." You're emulating Twilight, aren't you? No, I'm just kidding.
It's all sparkly vampires. No, I mean, you look at your inspiration, and I, am either accidentally or literally stealing or borrowing from everything, right? We're just all kind of a collection of our own inspirations and everything we've consumed, right? We're like wet AI in a way. We're just spitting out what we've consumed and hopefully putting it in a unique wrapper. So I don't know, like, and a lot of it's inspired by not non-vampire movies too, right? So like, Don't Look Now, if you guys ever seen that, Donald Sutherland.
Oh yeah,
incredible horror movie, like one of the best horror movies of all time. Right. And it's a love story and a story about grief, and that's what my story is too. So like, I take cues from that. Salem's Lot. There's been a couple versions of that, but one of the earlier ones, there's one of the scariest scenes ever. A little boy floats up to a window and starts scratching on it. Like, I'm like, that's just too good not to try to do something like that too, right? So it's all inspired by a lot of different things all over the place.
Yeah.
But I don't know. And then hopefully I'll put enough unique spin on it where you can't necessarily identify him, but even so, that's okay if you do. Because
it goes into the machine or whatever and comes out different.
Yeah.
Like, what the inspiration was, but it comes out different and unique in its own way.
Yeah, and hopefully you can hide them enough or add value, right?
Yeah.
Or make them wholly unique to your project.
Yeah.
But everybody watches everything and like, oh, that's cool, I'm going to use that for this, or
That scene with so I wasn't alive when Salem's Lot first aired, but my mom put it was rerunning or whatever when I was like 4.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And she showed me, hey, watch this movie. And it was right with that scene. Or there's like 3 of them in the whole miniseries, but like I think it's the first one when he first does the thing. And I was scared shitless. I was 4. I hid under, and like that's what made me like horror, I think. Watching that scene, like, oh, okay, I was scared shitless, but like I liked it. And then she was telling me about, well, there's this other movie called The Exorcist. Didn't see that until I was 17, but she was telling me about it. So that's very, that's a very good.
But back in the 80s too, they were airing this stuff on TV. So
Yeah.
it played like on TBS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They would, The Shining played all the time. They took out, the naked lady, but other than that, they showed everything else.
They blurred it when I saw it.
Yeah, they just blur it. They won't cut it out. You get to see the whole scene. It's just blurred.
Yep. Yep. And I probably was watching it at 7 or 8.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had a little black and white TV up in my room, and I was watching Twilight Zone to fall asleep.
Yeah.
We used to have cool shit on TV. We didn't have a choice, but they still had it.
Do you still fall asleep to noise?
I'm trying not to. So I try to go to bed in a normal human bed without noise.
Okay, normal human bed. What does that mean?
Right.
Vampire or?
I mean, my coffin's in the garage. It's kind of it can be cold out. So,
Mrs. Osterman's cool with that?
Right.
Cool.
Coffin for 2. No, I'm sure you guys are similar, and we know a lot of folks, just the mind doesn't slow down.
Yeah.
So oftentimes when I go to bed, I'm just staring at the ceiling like this is miserable. So I need some abstraction. So this just happened the other night where I was like, I'm going to go to bed early like a mature adult. So I went to bed at 10 o'clock, and then 3 hours later, I'm like, well, this isn't working. So I went out to the couch and turned on the TV. But I can't tell if I've always been like that or just if my parents let me have it, because they let me have a TV in my bedroom too young. Now I need that as my blankie. I don't know.
Nature versus nurture.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
Well, we
Can we do the good idea thing?
Yeah.
Please.
Oh, unless you got something. Okay.
No.
I mean, because first of all, obviously, I've never directed at the level that you've directed at. Everything's on a shoestring budget. Everything's borderline volunteer or stipends or something like that. But the same thing kind of comes up where everyone has ideas, and I know you try to hear people's ideas, and especially when people are just showing up to help out because they're passionate about the project.
Yeah.
But not every idea is okay. Well, internally someone's telling you an idea.
Yeah.
Okay, it's just not going to work.
Yeah.
Well, how would you define and it probably varies from project to project, I'm sure, but how do you determine what's a good idea, what's not, and totally separate from how do you tell them, no, or do you tell them at all, this idea's not good, but how do you internally decide, this idea is good, this idea is not good?
Yeah. I don't know if it's an innate thing or if it's been developed, but you kind of develop a spidey sense for it a little bit, right? And you're like, oh, there's something there, right? And just because it's a good idea doesn't mean that it can be executed well either, right? So tons of great ideas, but it really comes down to can you pull it off? That's the huge thing. So it's a good idea that has the ability to be executed well, right? And when I'm looking at kind of a bigger project, usually instead of trying to prop the idea up, I will try to knock it down. I'll try to poke as many holes in it as possible. It's almost like, a Jenga tower where you're trying to pull things out, and you pull a bunch out and it's still standing. You're like, oh, maybe this does work. You try to get ahead of all the potential issues or why it may not work. And if it's still standing, it might be worth doing. And I get pitched things all the time from people, and when it's truly a good idea, I'm gonna tell them holy shit, that's awesome, right? Keep going. And if it's not a good idea, you try to give some polite criticism of it, right, and be productive and helpful. But I'm not omnipotent. I don't have exclusivity on good ideas, so I know enough to know that I don't know everything, right? So, just try to be productive and polite and move on and not, make them feel any sort of way beyond that.
Can you give an example of a time you've turned down an idea delicately? Or, don't be toxically humble right now.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Oh, it happened.
I know.
It happened.
Yeah. This is his phrase that he wants to get out there.
Oh, what's that?
Toxic humility.
Okay.
The concept of toxic humility is a Matt Osterman.
This was your, because I knew you guys talked for a bit before this, so like that's from that. Okay.
Yeah, right. I'm trying to make that term happen because Minnesotans especially.
We're gonna make fetch happen, everyone.
I was gonna say fetch, but
That's his line.
I'm sorry, Phil. Fetch Phil.
Fetch Phil.
Yeah. Okay.
A time. So I'm gonna speak anonymously.
Yeah.
Sometimes I know some people that are working on a movie right now where the story is good, but the concept is just weak. I'm like, what's going to make people show up for that? Like, if you say it's a good story, well told, that's not enough anymore. There needs to be like oh shit, like the lean in factor.
Right, edge of your seat kind of thing.
And there's almost nothing you're going to do to that story that's going to get it there. So you just have to kind of say like, okay, so who's the market for this? Like, what studio could you imagine picking this up? Like, so you kind of ask these questions kind of around it where they can kind of come to the conclusion on their own. They're like, oh yeah, like, a Lifetime movie with robots and dinosaurs, right? Like, that doesn't exist, Maybe it should, actually, now that I say it. But, you just try to lead folks along and let them come to their own conclusion, because if you just tell them a thing, it doesn't always land the way you want it to.
So you're saying by asking them questions that sort of make them like, not question, but like...
rethink almost.
Or scrutinize their own idea. Like it leads them to the conclusion rather than you having to tell them, hey, your story, your story's fine, right? But the concept is not marketable.
Right. Because they might have not spent enough time trying to knock it down in the early stages, like I said before, right? Where they're like, okay, here's this like really great kernel of a drama where there's great stakes and lots of stuff is happening, but the wrapper around it is just kind of weak.
Like if you had to boil it down to like the log line of the thing is not going to get people, it's not going to get butts in the seats, even though like maybe the structure is really good, maybe the characters are really well written, and the everything else about the writing is like maybe really good, but
it
like
needs to be something compelling.
No one's going to care, that sort of thing. Okay.
The only time like those work is if you have like an A-lister involved where people want to see that person do the thing. And that's cool because I want to see that person do that thing too. But generally, when you're trying to make a movie that won't have that A-lister, you have to play by a different set of rules. And frankly, right now the A-listers need it too. You
mean because of the decline of the overall industry?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's always been that case, but just because we had so many movies out there that, so many just kind of went away, but we had so many other good ones out there that just the cream rose to the top. Because those A-listers have been making shitty movies for the entirety of Hollywood, right? But they make one good one every 3 years, and that's all they're giving credit for that, but not the shitty ones.
Wasn't it like one bad movie or one good movie buys your next three? It's like Tom Hanks or someone said that early in his career. Like, as long as I get one hit, that buys me. Might have been, I can't remember which celebrity said that. I'm
interested in what rules A-list stars have to play by. Like, you're saying they've made a bunch of shitty movies, but one good movie excuses it. What rules do they have?
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak for all of them, right? I don't know internally how they work. And some A-listers just like to work.
Right.
So they're willing to, take some risks, or they just want to like get paid, So they'll take on a mediocre project just to work and get paid, because they would view themselves more as like a tradesperson or craftsperson versus a artist, right? Whereas some actors, like, they'll wait 10 years between projects, because they're waiting for the thing that they know that can bring the most value to, or that activates them as an artist. So they're all quite different, and some, have immense drug habits that they need to make their money and, like
yeah, I get that.
do that. But some people just feed off that energy, right? And they're like, I want to live on set. So that requires you making some choices, that probably don't work out. And I don't think we should judge them for that. I think that should be, applauded. But yeah, I think everyone's different from that. I don't know if there's hard and fast rules, and some of them don't have any taste at all either. And their reps are saying, "Yep, you should do this one or don't do that one."
Yeah, you gotta make your bag, as they call it, right?
I own many.
Your
Nicolas
nut,
Cage,
whatever.
Nut or bag, yes.
Yeah.
I own many Nicolas Cage movies. I own a couple of Daniel Day-Lewis movies. Opposite ends of the spectrum.
Those are great examples. And Nicolas Cage, when he is on, he's as good as Daniel Day-Lewis.
Yeah, 100%. And Daniel Day-Lewis has never made me laugh as much as Nicolas Cage has.
Especially in Long Legs.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. I was laughing a lot.
What does Jim Carrey count now? Because he's retired, but he's going back for Sonic movies.
That's,
I had
that's
no
a
idea.
completely different bait.
Oh, okay.
I'm throwing to you for the last question.
Oh, the last question of the night. Who would you recommend we reach out to be on this show?
In the Upper Midwest filmmaking community, unless you have an A-lister, you can recommend for the show. We love that.
You guys have had a lot of folks on, so I'd have to go look at the list.
Deep dive, yeah.
Yeah.
Just who do you like that you're friends with, or that you don't like and think this would be a something they'd agree to? And then
Who
be
do I
like,
want to punish?
Yeah.
Who's a good time? Justin Jones.
Yeah.
Oh. Justin?
Oh, yeah.
Justin came on the show and then said, you know what this show is like? It's kind of like talking to Matt Osterman. And I was like, how do you do it? You can ask him. He did say that to us.
All right. No,
You weren't there. He was.
I was not there. Yeah, I wish I was there.
We should, we want to have Justin on again because I'll say off camera.
Yeah. No, he's a good friend. Who else? We talked about Andy and Mike. I don't know if you've thrown
Andy Hunt and Mike
P. Nelson.
Yeah, Mike P. Johnson would be. We should Nelson. Sorry, yeah.
He's not going to come on if you call him Mike P. Johnson.
Maybe if I
His
call him
name
because
right.
of his big Johnson. I don't know.
Right. That's right.
Nelson. I have met him, I believe.
Yeah.
In person.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I go to
okay.
TCFF events not because we only had the one thing in the
Okay.
one time, but meet people. community.
We used to have his go-to DP, Nick Junkersfeld, come and shoot stuff with us at my day job.
Oh yeah.
Before, back when shooting Cub Foods commercials. But
Yeah.
Yes.
I've not met Mike P. Nelson though. I have not.
Yeah, the delightful guy. He is busy, so
Everyone's
he's-
busy.
Yeah, he's doing some great stuff, and I think he's got a couple movies coming out here soon. Some aren't announced yet.
Yeah,
Sweet.
we'll
Yeah.
be sure to reach out. Well, Matt, thank you for joining us. I think this was a great time and a great debate, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
Have a good
Oh,
night.
that's
Yeah, because we record this first.
Recorded out of order.
I'm so excited to see what you keep. And then when you keep the part when I say, "Are you going to keep this?"
Thank you for listening. For more JK Productions, find us on Instagram at JK Productions Team and on Facebook, JK Productions MN. Join us next time for another debate.